We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances around it. But we're not going to let this go, because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it.
This Turning Point conference, the were in the front of out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs, and you know, the cigar.
I think it's important that every single person that attended that Turning Point, every Republican speak up against the stickers, against the flags that were waved.
You let them in.
President, open your
You let them in and you knew what they were.
Right.
So you are complicit.
But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out.
Joe Rogan just tore into the View hosts with a blistering, no-holds-barred roast that shook the entire table. And forget polite chatter, this wasn't tea time, it was a raging storm on live TV. Why? Because Charlie Kirk just slammed them with a jaw-dropping $100 million lawsuit sparking chaos like never before. Rogan's trademark brutal honesty turned the showdown into pure mayhem, and once he unleashed, there was absolutely no turning back.
Charlie Kirk's the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA and the author of the new book, The College Scam. So, Charlie, do you accept the View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over them because someone at ABC says that they might be linked to
Charlie Kirk just threw down the gauntlet and hammered the View hosts with a jaw-dropping $100 million lawsuit. Yes, you heard that right. $100 million. No typo. No exaggeration. When your name gets tossed around on daytime TV like a disposable prop and you've got the power to strike back, you don't sip tea. You go nuclear and make the whole studio shake.
So, I mean, the View has to be... you know, if you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on, for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person, and what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there. Sometimes comics do that.
This lawsuit isn't just some emotional outburst. It's a thunderous message stamped with a multi-million-dollar price tag. Don't mess with me. The View acted like it was open season on Charlie Kirk, tossing accusations around like Oprah once handed out cars. Everyone gets one. But when Kirk finally calls foul, the stage flips into a full-blown legal circus that no one saw coming.
Now we begin with a shocking apology just a short time ago from the ladies of The View to Turning Point USA. A war of words broke out after the conservative group was rallying the next generation of voters at its youth summit in Tampa, Florida this weekend. And the liberal panel just couldn't help themselves. The group sent a scathing cease and desist letter after hosts on The View suggested that Turning Point had embraced neo who showed up outside the event.
Now the hosts of The View are busy spinning their trademark daytime drama, clutching pearls, and pretending this is just a harmless mix-up over some misinterpreted tweet. But let's be clear, it's not. This is a $100 million clash, and that number makes your average reality show feud look like a petty playground squabble over crayons.
Do you see what Whoopi Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in jail. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Joe Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it because it's so
on TV.
crazy.
She said
on television.
You know, just let's look at a scenario where the Supreme Court says, yes, he has that. He has all those rights. He is immune from everything.
Yeah.
You know what Joe Biden could do since he is presently president?
What?
Whoa. He could throw every Republican in jail.
And then steps in Joe Rogan, because honestly, who else could flip this circus upside down? The man who turned podcasting into a contact sport just unloaded not 2 cents, but a whole truckload of sarcasm on the entire fiasco. Watching Rogan mock The View hosts is like watching a grizzly bear deliver a TED Talk on how to steal honey better than bees. It's savage, it's shocking, and it's strangely satisfying. Rogan's take is pure gold. Picture the guy who usually debates alien conspiracies and MMA fighters suddenly roasting daytime TV queens for their staged outrage. It's like a master chef critiquing a microwave dinner, painfully accurate and deliciously brutal. His mockery stings because he's not playing by their rules. The View hosts act like it's a soap opera, throwing shade, stirring drama, but never actually stepping into the ring. Meanwhile, Rogan hurls blunt haymakers of truth, then sits back laughing as they scramble to keep up. And here's the irony. The View thrives on being loud and righteous, but when someone counters with actual legal firepower, the noise drops fast. Rogan sees the hypocrisy for what it is, and calls it out mercilessly. He exposes how the hosts preach about everyone else's faults, while dodging accountability like Olympic champions. And this time, they can't run from the blowback.
Welcome back. You know, in Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me, and it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did. So, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So,
Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk isn't parading his lawsuit like some shiny trophy. He's delivering a thunderous message about accountability in a media age where smears are tossed out like confetti on national TV. The View might strut around as untouchable daytime divas, but Kirk's $100 million lawsuit lands like the ultimate mic drop, loud, crushing, and impossibly expensive. It's a spectacle where media collides with money and madness, and the fallout is impossible to ignore. On one side, you've got a panel of hosts who built their careers on outrage and opinion, acting as if legal consequences are nothing but background noise. On the other, you've got a conservative activist with deep pockets declaring, "Not on my watch," and here's 100 million reasons why. And then comes Joe Rogan, amplifying the circus with razor-sharp mockery that magnifies just how absurd it all looks when you step back. The hosts pretend to stand on some lofty moral high ground, but the moment someone fights back, they start squirming in their seats. Rogan's humor slices through the charade, exposing that maybe this so-called high ground isn't so noble when it's buried under lawsuits and contradictions. This showdown isn't just about clashing egos. It's a snapshot of today's media battlefield, where lawsuits become weapons, outrage becomes currency, and the world watches eagerly for the next scandal to explode.
The culture shift between right and left authoritarianism, and now people don't recognize that if you just stop looking at it in terms of red and blue, look at the actions, whether it's war, suppression of free speech, pharmacological interventions that are mandatory, right, whatever it is, that used to all be associated with the authoritative right, the authoritarian right, and now those things are being embraced by the left. And I just think it's just an ideology thing, and I think we get confused and we think we're on the right side, we're on the right side. And if it's our side that's saying this, for sure that's the right thing to do. And no one's critically thinking about this.
Joe Rogan is the gateway drug for young men that thought they were Democrats to become MAGA. Joe Rogan is the bridge. And on that bridge, they'll see RFK. They'll see Elon Musk.
The View hosts now find themselves trapped in a brutal crossfire where their old playbook, shout first, dodge the consequences later, is crumbling under the weight of legal briefs and looming courtroom dates. And if the $100 million lawsuit wasn't enough to shake their polished set, Joe Rogan's takedown hits like salt rubbed deep into a wound they never expected. His sharp wit and unapologetic tone expose the truth. The View's brand of serious discussion often teeters on farce, especially when someone finally fights back with real force. For years, the hosts thrived on theatrical outrage and selective targeting, carefully choosing who to attack while keeping their own hands seemingly spotless. But Kirk's lawsuit and Rogan's unflinching response shine a scorching spotlight on that double standard, a kind of selective justice that's good for ratings until it comes with a staggering price tag. Meanwhile, the audience is glued to the chaos, watching a full-blown daytime TV meltdown unfold, complete with multi-million-dollar stakes, and a podcast giant stepping in as the unexpected referee. It's messy, it's absurd, and it's the kind of media circus you can't peel your eyes away from. The silence from The View in the face of Rogan's viral mockery speaks volumes. No fiery clapbacks, no dramatic commercial breaks, just a quiet storm brewing off camera. Because you can yell all you want in front of the cameras, but when a lawsuit lands in your inbox and Rogan's roasting floods every screen online, you're suddenly playing a very different game.
I think the problem with that show is that show has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in. You know, and they always bring on a token conservative woman and they yell over her and silence her. And, you know, they did that with Meghan McCain, and they did that with what is that other blonde woman from Survivor? Do you remember her, Jamie? She was always yelling. I mean, it's just, it's a bizarre show.
This lawsuit isn't just a headline you scroll past with your morning coffee. It's a glaring magnifying glass held over the wild jungle of media polarization, where every insult lands like a grenade and every lawsuit strikes like a missile. The showdown between Charlie Kirk and The View isn't happening in some quiet corner. It's unfolding in the middle of a culture so divided it could be its own reality show. America, the Feud edition. In today's climate, lawsuits have evolved into political weapons sharper than any tweet storm or viral rant. Forget petty neighborhood disputes. Now it's a $100 million lawsuit when your name gets dragged across daytime TV. It's a flex move, a loud reminder that money doesn't just talk, it drowns out ratings altogether. And when you can't win the battle on camera, you take it to court and let the lawyers swing it out. Kirk's lawsuit is a perfect example of how the justice system has turned into a stage for media wars, transforming feuds into multi-million-dollar gladiator games where only the wealthiest survive. And fueling the fire is media polarization itself. On one side, you've got mainstream hosts like The View who've mastered the art of performative outrage. Think of it as outrage theater, where the script is always the same. Paint the other side as the villain while soaking up the spotlight.
Meghan, I get it. I also hate Joy Behar. So I don't love you, but I also hate that squawking bird. So I hate the whole thing. And frankly, that show, you want to talk about a show that set women back, is The View. You want to talk about that show. If the CIA is engineering, Antifa and fucking the Capitol riot, some crazy misogynist engineered The View, because there's nothing worse than The View. In terms of, like, there are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on The View. None of them have gone near the set of The View. I mean, they have brought in the lowest tier of the, what is it, the Y chromosome?
No, double
the
X.
Okay.
Double X.
They brought in the lowest of the double X's for that one. It's rough.
On the other side, you've got conservative figures like Charlie Kirk turning outrage into a rallying cry, arming his base with fiery moments and now even lawsuits. This isn't just two sides bickering, it's a full-scale war for influence over public opinion, delivered with the subtlety of a wrecking ball in a glass factory. What we're seeing is part legal thriller, part reality TV, and part circus sideshow. A bizarre blend where news plays at being theater, and theater disguises itself as news. One moment you're hearing about serious issues, the next you're staring at a lawsuit that feels ripped straight from a Hollywood blockbuster script. The lines blur so completely, you don't know if you're supposed to be outraged, entertained, or just snacking on popcorn while the chaos unfolds. And here's the twist. The average viewer is left squinting at this mess, wondering what's real and what's pure showbiz. The lawsuit, the mockery, the grandstanding, it's all part of a spectacle built to keep eyes glued to screens. The View's looming courtroom drama and Joe Rogan's savage roast aren't just random flare-ups. They're episodes in a never-ending soap opera where politics, media, and money are the stars, and the rest of us are the captive audience.
Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here, because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right. Just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth.
So what's next in this chaotic saga? Honestly, anything could happen, and it probably will. The View hosts might try to settle quietly, because nothing says damage control like cutting a massive check to make the storm disappear. Or maybe this explodes into a drawn-out court battle, with every private email, shady tweet, and behind-the-scenes rant dragged out under the spotlight for the world to see. The discovery phase alone could unleash a flood of juicy receipts faster than you can say ratings boost. If this fight heads to court, don't expect subtle legal nuance. It'll be pure theater. Both sides will treat the courtroom as a stage, filled with grandstanding, sound bites, and media leaks designed to grab headlines. Sure, The View might try tightening their talking points and dialing down the drama, but let's be real, drama is their lifeline, and this lawsuit is just the next act in their never-ending script. Meanwhile, social media will fuel the fire like a pyromaniac with a flamethrower, memes, sarcastic tweets, and viral clips recycling non-stop until no one can escape the spectacle of daytime TV going nuclear. And hovering over it all is Joe Rogan, the podcast king who never misses a chance to turn chaos into a viral bonfire. His mockery isn't just a passing jab, it's a signal flare warning everyone that this feud isn't daytime fluff anymore. It's serious business, and the world is watching.
Yeah, did you watch the episode when Tulsi Gabbard got on to defend herself and Joy Behar starts panicking and going over her notes while Tulsi is refuting everything that she said?
Yeah, I mean, Joy Behar, like, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, like, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a national platform. I mean, it is crazy. They have no idea. These people have never read, like, a book.
And there's versions of it.
This lawsuit is nothing less than a perfect storm of unpredictability. In a media world ruled by social outrage and influencer firepower, the old rules don't even exist anymore. A single tweet can light a fuse, a short video can detonate into a national debate, and one podcast clip can turn a lawsuit into the biggest punchline in America. Nobody knows how this ends, but one thing's guaranteed, it won't be boring. This real-life soap opera has all the ingredients for a long, messy, and wildly entertaining spectacle that millions will obsess over, dissect, meme, and debate endlessly. The View's lawsuit saga isn't just about money, it's a front row seat to how disputes get weaponized, how egos collide, and how the line between news and entertainment dissolves into thin air. And make no mistake, no one is walking away quietly. With Joe Rogan's mic still blazing and Charlie Kirk's legal team locked and loaded, the next act promises even more chaos, comedy, and courtroom fireworks. The only suspense now is who gets roasted next. And the sweetest irony, this whole debacle proves how fast the tables can turn. One day you're running the show, the next you're ducking lawsuits and being dragged across a podcast better known for elk hunting and UFOs. Karma, it seems, has a dark sense of humor. So what does this circus mean for daytime TV and the culture wars? For starters, it's a brutal reality check for those who think throwing shade and hurling accusations comes without consequences. Kirk's $100 million lawsuit is a financial slap across the face, shouting that opinions may be free, but accusations can cost a fortune. And Rogan's savage roast. It's the blueprint for how voices outside the mainstream can hold big media accountable, with humor, with sharp commentary, and without a single ounce of sugarcoating. In the end, this saga is the ultimate blend of media spectacle, legal drama, and pop culture theatrics. A conservative activist with pockets deep enough to shake daytime TV, a panel of hosts who built their empire on outrage, and a podcast titan who refuses to play nice, all colliding in one explosive showdown. And here we are, popcorn in hand, watching every chaotic twist. So the next time The View tosses around allegations like confetti, they'd better remember Charlie Kirk's $100 million lawsuit and Joe Rogan's blistering roast. Because in today's battlefield, the loudest voice isn't always the most powerful. The real power belongs to the sharpest wit and the deepest pockets. And for The View, that means the daytime drama isn't just about ratings anymore, it's for keeps.